Ever felt like your work week is just a series of missed opportunities? Your week ends and you wonder where the time went and what you actually accomplished, if anything. I've been there before, overwhelmed, underperforming, and always playing catch up. Until I learned how to do the one thing that's been instrumental to my success. The one thing I'll never stop doing no matter how hectic things get, no matter where my life and business take me. In case you're tuning in to my channel for the first time, hi there. I'm Marisa Murgatroyd. I've coached and supported tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, from side hustlers to seven-figure empires, on how to grow their online businesses. And I'm here to help you succeed too. Here's the thing, success doesn't happen overnight. It took a lot of hard work and time to get to the point where I can consistently get big work done. I definitely wasn't born this way. Back in college, I couldn't even turn in a paper on time. I remember it got so bad that I hatched this ridiculous scheme. I wasn't gonna make a deadline, and for the very first time ever, my professor was accepting papers digitally. It was before the days when everyone would attach anything to an email. So what I did is I saved a blank Word document. I named the file and everything, and then I emailed it to my professor. Yep, I purposely sent a blank Word document. Of course, a few days later, he wrote back to say, "The doc's blank," and I proceeded to freak out. Oh my God, I can't believe it. What happened? I worked so hard on this. How did all of my work disappear? And he felt so bad, he gave me another couple of weeks to get the work done. And of course, it took me another super painful couple of weeks to turn this paper around. This is a paper that should have taken me just a few days, and it ended taking me a full month because I gave in to the resistance. And to be honest, that paper wasn't any better for having had an extra couple of weeks to write it. I just prolonged the pain. And it didn't get much better when I first started my business. It would take me days to write just 1 hour-long training. The resistance would take over, or I'd let the dreaded perfectionism take hold. But over time, I learned to feel the resistance and push through. I developed the muscle to do more in less time. So today, I can write multiple trainings in a single day. Now, I tell you this not to brag, but to let you know that this was a capacity I built over time. And it's a capacity that you can build too, should you choose to do it. That's why in this video, I'm walking you through how to build your perfect work week using one game-changing technique so you can accomplish more in that week than most do in an entire month. Ready? Let's do this. Each year, I hold a live once a year 5-day challenge while also creating a 3-part live workshop series for thousands of people. It's definitely one of the busiest times of year, and every single year, I manage to get it all done. So how long do you think I schedule each year to create my 3-part live workshop series? I give myself 3 days, 1 day for each workshop. And guess what? I always get it done in 3 days. Again, I don't say this to brag. I say this to share what's possible for you when you start to train yourself to do more in less time. Let's take a look at my schedule for that week so you can see this in practice. Remember, this is one of my busiest weeks all year, not a typical work week. So while you won't have crazy weeks like this all the time, you will have them, especially as you grow and scale. And you don't want to be caught unprepared. Plus, once you've put this scheduling technique into place and it becomes a habit, you'll be able to supercharge your efforts and results even during less busy times. So I start by blocking time in my calendar, starting at around 7:30 a.m., and I stretch it until my first meeting for the day. Now, I usually start meetings at 1 p.m., but since this is our busiest season, my schedule is a little bit different. I eliminate all but the most essential calls, stretching my creative focus time where possible until 2 or even 3 p.m. Because here's the thing, your schedule is a living, breathing thing. It's not something that locks you in or that you set and forget. Sometimes I'm in the zone and I work for 3 hours straight, while other times I'm ready for a break or I just come to a natural stopping point after just an hour or maybe 90 minutes. While I keep my morning time blocks fluid, I do choose a specific focus for every single time block in advance, so I know exactly what I'm sitting down to do. For instance, on this particular Monday, I blocked out 7:30 a.m. all the way up to 1 p.m. on my calendar to review, revise, and finalize a brand new webinar that I'd be delivering live the following week. Now, this gave me plenty of time to prepare. But my calendar isn't all about work. I also schedule some more structured self-care time, specifically getting chiro and body work in every Monday. I even go to my friend's hyperbaric chamber when I can. But luckily, I can still work while I'm in there. By pre-scheduling each of my time blocks weeks, if not months in advance, I'm able to get more done in a single week than many people get done in a month. And I'm not alone. I'm sure you know this guy. Elon Musk is possibly the busiest man on earth right now. The billionaire founder and CEO of both Tesla and SpaceX spends up to 100 hours a week on both companies, while somehow eating and somehow spending time with his many kids. How? By time blocking. Musk is known for his rigorous time blocking schedule. He divides his days each week into 5-minute slots and dedicates specific blocks to different companies in projects. His breakdown typically includes spending Mondays and Fridays at Tesla focusing on engineering and design. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are for SpaceX, dealing with engineering and design for rockets and spacecraft. Thursdays are reserved for his other projects and ventures. Musk also schedules all of his critical emails and meetings within these time blocks, ensuring that not a second is wasted. Now, this type of rigorous scheduling, it's not for everyone. It's a little bit too rigorous for me. But the truth is that the most successful people don't wake up on Monday morning and waste time thinking, what am I gonna do this week? They already know. They've planned it all out. Here's the harsh truth about us creatives. Most of us waste up to 50% of our time and energy trying to figure out what to do next. But if you spend just 30 to 60 minutes of thinking, planning, and visioning time once a month, you can define your blocks not just a week, but for an entire month, saving dozens of hours of trying to figure out what to do next time. Now, if you're feeling a little repulsed by the idea of planning out an entire month of your time down to the hour, you're not alone. After all, you decided to become an entrepreneur so you could have more freedom in your life, and this is starting to sound a whole lot like a job. I totally understand how you feel, and I used to feel that way too. It took me a long time before I could sit down and stick to the blocks I set for myself. But along the way, I've come to see that structure creates freedom. And by taking the time to block out my calendar 1 to 3 months in advance, I'm able to pull off 2 multi-million-dollar product launches a year while traveling for fun at least 3 months a year. And that wouldn't happen if I didn't take the time to reserve those times in advance to eliminate all distractions and focus on what I really want to create for myself and in the world. Then, by simply showing up and doing when I said I was going to do it, guess what? It happens. I create the future I want 1 day and 1 week at a time. Sounds great, but let's slow down for just a moment. Because I've got one word of warning, and it's this. No schedule survives contact with an actual day, nor should it. I think we set ourselves up to fail when we create a schedule like this, and then we expect that every minute of every day of every week follows the schedule to the letter. Remember, I don't fully schedule my breaks because they happen organically at roughly the times I put in my schedule. But I'm not bothered if those breaks happen 30 minutes earlier or 30 minutes later, or if I get so into the zone that I miss a morning walk or an exercise block somewhere along the way. Or if I fall out of flow and I decide to take a longer break, I don't set alarms to wake up at a specific time in the morning. I don't use Pomodoro clocks or anything like that, as I find that they interrupt my flow and my deep work. When I'm in the zone, I can often go 2 to 3 hours straight without a break. So why constrain myself to 50-minute blocks because some guy named Francesco Cirillo said it was a good idea? For me, it's not about what the productivity experts say to do. It's about what works with my natural flow so I can get into aligned action and stay there. And the same is true for you. Here's the thing. You don't have to follow the schedule 100% of the time and feel like you're on a constant high wire act with your life. That's no fun, and it won't get you where you want to go. Because here's the twist. This one perfect week, it's an illusion. Because it's impossible to plan your perfect week in advance. Instead, you gotta expect that your plan is gonna fail. But here's the thing, simply having this plan is gonna get you so much farther faster than not having a plan at all. So don't aim for perfection right out of the gate. Doing so is only gonna set you up for failure. Remember, this is a muscle that takes time to build. And until you build this muscle, you're gonna feel resistance. In the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss teaches his readers how to become experts fast. And his secret to becoming a fast expert is to learn how to be with the feeling of resistance and overwhelm. Now, most people are programmed to do things that give them the least resistance and quit the moment they feel resistance. They associate this feeling of resistance that comes from being at the edge of their comfort zone as a negative emotion. So they give up, they shut down, they walk away right when they're about to experience growth. Imagine for a moment that you're at a gym lifting weights. What do you feel each time you lift weights? You feel resistance, right? And what happens on the other side of your resistance? You develop muscles and strength. True, you may feel sore at first, it might hurt like crazy, but over time, you grow your capacity to lift heavier and heavier weights. The same thing goes for your schedule. Just because you feel resistance the first time out of the gate doesn't mean you should stop. It may mean you may want to pivot your schedule to better fit your flow and your actual experience of a day. It took me years to get my schedule right, but now it feels natural and it feels aligned with my rhythms and my goals. And I love my schedule so much that it takes a lot for me to give it up for a day. It just works for me, and it works for my business too. So when you're first getting started test driving this kind of schedule, don't aim to follow it 100% of the time. Simply aim for about 50%, either 3 days a week or schedule half of each day. Because let me ask you, would simply following the schedule you just created 50% of the time change your life and your business? Would following this just 50% of the time allow you to do so much more than you're currently doing without compromising your life? Absolutely. So 50% is a huge win. Yeah, yay 50%, right? How often do we celebrate something like 50%? But just following this schedule, flawed as it is, 50% of the time, gives you the time and space to figure out what works well and what you want to do differently, and then experiment some more until you get it just right. And if there's ever a period in your life when following the schedule becomes too much, simply cut back and do this 4 days a week to give yourself an open day, or 3 or 2 or whatever works for you. And even if you do go all the way and you find yourself in the groove of doing this 5 days a week or 6 or 7, allow yourself a little bit of flexibility in the implementation of the schedule. Because even if you're doing this 5 days a week, even if you're doing it 7 days a week, it's not about following the schedule down to the minute. It's more about honoring the spirit of this habit. You now have a plan, and this plan will get you further and faster than not having a plan. So there you have it, how to build your perfect week so you can get so much more accomplished and take your business to the next level and the next level after that. The sky really is the limit when you use this time blocking technique. And in case you missed it, I've also got a tutorial on creating your perfect day. That's a perfect companion piece to this video. Inside, you'll discover how to craft your ideal workday, taking into account both personal and professional obligations. Think of these 2 videos as your 1-2 punch for success. And if you want my and my team's support in growing and scaling a business that's not only uber successful, but also one that lights you up every single week, join me in Momentum, my year-long business accelerator. Here's the thing. Usually when it comes to the support that you need to take your business to the next level, you're forced to choose between private coaching, a small group mastermind, or live events and workshops. And while each one of these things is awesome, they're not enough to generate the business results you're after. Because with private coaching, you're missing the perspective that comes from community. With small group masterminds, you're lacking the depth and the accountability of having that private coach. And with live events and workshops, you get pumped, but then the excitement fades and you fall back into procrastination and overwhelm. That's why I've created one cohesive program that gives you all three. I like to call it a best of all worlds program. You get private concierge coaching, small group masterminds, and live trainings and quarterly events. Yep, all three in one value-packed program. If your ears are perked up and you're excited to learn more about how me and my team can support you in realizing your biggest business goals this year, check out the link below to schedule a no-pressure call with a program specialist. So schedule that call, and I hope to see you inside Momentum. Now go out there and live your message.